All right, welcome. I think this is episode, yes, 120. It just always blows me away that every week that I get to do these amazing transmissions. It's just amazing. I wish you could feel what I feel as the words just flow through me. They come with this incredible frequency, this incredible energy. That's why I call them transmissions, because it's the all that isness, the God within is the one that's speaking. The small self I, the individualized aspect of who I have become. I incarnated so that God could have a physical vessel. And that's what waking up is all about, is the realization that as God, as all that isness, as consciousness, as whatever you want to call it, we make a decision to take on a physical vessel. But we don't just take on one. It's not just, I'm not just, God is not just Laina. God is Crystal, God is Dandra, God is Ginger, God is every blade of grass, God is every cloud that moves about in the sky, God is every strand of hair that is on my head, on everybody's head, on every bit of fur, every grain of sand. God is all that isness. And when we wake up, see, we go through a process of awakening when we are beginning to recognize what we are. It's a slow process. Now, yes, there are instant experiences of awakening that happens to some people, and that is absolutely a valid experience. I think for me, I began with a little bit of a slow process. Then I got a hit back in 2007 that I've spoken about many times, when I knew myself and had that experience where I was one with all that is. That's when my whole mind got blown blown open, wide open. Can't say my mind was blown to smithereens, because it didn't quite happen that way, but it was blown wide open. It's as if for a minute, well, it was like 45 minutes, the curtain got pulled, the veil was pulled, and I could see all that is true. What is ultimate reality? That I was God, and God was me, and I was all that is, and all that is was just me as God, wanting to have an experience of being all that it could possibly be. And as an individual aspect, as Laina, I give it a specific experience. And then I enter into relationships with different people who play different roles, all God expressing itself, which means all me, myself playing my first husband, my second husband, my children, my boyfriends, my girlfriends, my bosses, my neighbors, all of it. All of it was me playing all the roles that were necessary so that I could have a fulfilled experience, complete as Laina. And all of us are doing the same thing. So the awakening process is the beginning to remember that that's what's going on. To be awake is to claim because you know it, but it requires not only an incredible level of integrity, but it requires a humbleness. That's what these last couple of years, probably the last 5 years, have been doing. Actually, it started about 10 years ago when I went through, started going through the divorce process with Ken. Spencer, my youngest son, was doing drugs. That's when I needed to fall off of my spiritual pedestal, where I thought I knew it all and only I had the answers. And I needed to write the New York Times bestseller because everybody had to hear what I had to say. That part, that aspect, the spiritualized ego, at some point we realize that it needs to go to it. We need to get rid of that too. We need to transcend that immature perspective that somehow we are the only ones who know everything. And as a matter of fact, in The Way of Mastery, which is another book channel by Jesus, it's a follow-up to A Course in Miracles, it states the spiritual ego is the last egg to be cracked. And we have to let go of thinking that we know everything just because we're spiritual. It's no different than thinking you know everything just because you're religious, or thinking you know everything just because you're Christian or Muslim or atheist. We need to get humble enough to acknowledge, no, I do not know everything. I only know my conscious mind only has access to the information that's been programmed into it. But here's the thing, through the process of awakening, you are creating an opening in your mind so you can access what is beyond the mind. Think of the mind of God as a matter of fact, I'm going to put it here on the board. I've done this so many times. Those of you who've been in my classes have seen this a gazillion times. And it is when I did my live classes. So let me see. There's the board. I'm assuming you guys can see it because I don't see anybody's faces. So I don't know if you see it or not. If you don't see this, go ahead and send me a message. But if you see it, you don't have to say anything. So this is God. This is the mind of God. Imagine this whiteboard as all that is. Thank you, Crystal, for the thumbs up. Every single one of us is, let me see, let me give myself a little pencil here. So every single one of us is in the mind of God. There's me, there's you, there's everybody else. I'll give me arms too. Every single one of us exists in the mind of God. And what our ego is a circle, a veil, a curtain that we draw around ourselves that says, I am separate. I over here, what is me over here is separate from what is out there. I am separate from this person over here who thinks that they're separate from me too. So while we are operating in the illusion, the delusion that we are separate from one another, we are literally in a trance. We are in a state of sleep. We are pretending to be what we're not, separate from one another, separate from God. So the process of awakening is just a slow process of beginning to dissolve the ideas, the misperceptions that have been trained into our mind until we get to the place that little by little, we let go of the illusions, we let go of what is not real, and all that remains is the quiet stillness within your own mind that you are one with all that is. So one who is awake, one who is, you can say, enlightened, and enlightened just means finally you turned on the light. You see clearly there is nothing that you are not connected to. And from that place, you cultivate the relationships with yourself first. The self-love begins, has to begin, because the ability to love oneself is necessary in order to forgive oneself for having forgotten the truth of who we are. And all of us incarnate into this delusion because we're born to people who forgot. And they were born to people who forgot. And we can go back thousands and thousands and thousands of years. And as a matter of fact, right now, what is so exciting about what is happening right now, and you've heard me say this many times, this is the most incredible decade, the 2020 decade. And how interesting that it is 2020, because we say people with perfect vision see 2020. So in the 2020 decade, and we're only 3 years in, so make sure you buckle up, because it is going to get a lot bumpier before we come to a complete stop. So we are in the midst of shaking. It's like finally there is a collective consciousness, meaning a lot of us who have been dissolving our ideas of who we think we are emanating. We are now, instead of our light being covered up inside of this little circle, and look how that casts a shadow right there on my nose. So we've been living in darkness. As we begin to break the veil, as we begin to move the veil, whatever word you want to use, as we begin to accept who we really are, we emanate a frequency. See, when we're all contained and operating inside of a delusion that I am separate from everybody else, we literally are withholding our light. We're not shining our light. Our light is stuck, and it's deliberate. When you begin to understand the way the mind works, and you study the teachings of A Course in Miracles, and you understand what is going on, it is necessary that we really come to the place of accepting that we are the light of the world. We are here to extend our light to everything, but we have been deliberately conditioned because there was a tiny mad idea. At some point, somebody had the idea that not only am I separate from God, I'm separate from each and every one of you, but somebody had the idea that means it's okay to be in fear. The process of control became a reality, and little by little, we have been indoctrinated for thousands of years into a system that says that somebody at the top gets to control everybody else that is not at the top. Everybody else that's at the bottom. So we have covered up our light. We have not been emanating the light that liberates us, because we were not free. We were enslaved. We have been enslaved when your mind is not your own, when the thoughts that you think are regurgitated thoughts that the church gave you, that the government gives you, that your parents give you, that school gives you, that bosses give you, when you're just regurgitating that this is the law and this is how it is. If you don't do this, then you're going to get punished. But all of these crazy ideas that we have been believing, God is outside, and you repeat it and repeat it generation after generation, God is outside. Well, it becomes our reality with a small r. But the ultimate reality that we are one with all that is doesn't change. What changes is our perception. Our mind gets conditioned to believe things that are not true, that are nonsensical. So as we begin the process of awakening, we have to question all of those thoughts. We have to begin to purge our mind of nonsense, nonsensical stuff, things that make absolutely, well, they're idiotic. Because if you and God are one, how bright are you? Not bright at all. And when I say the word bright, you're not shining your light. You are very endarkened when you put God out there on the cloud as somebody that can punish you. What you're doing is you're projecting out there the person who told you God is out there, and you put them on the pedestal, be the Pope, or be the minister, be your father, be your mother, that told you that that is true. So now you are putting outside of you nonsense, and we regurgitate this with our children. We tell it to our kids, our grandkids. We pass down all these hand-me-down beliefs that are idiotic. They are absolutely have no validity to them, except that we agree with them. So as humanity is waking up in this decade, 2020, and we are questioning these nonsensical beliefs, and we're choosing not to buy into them anymore, we're not participating in the system that holds together the mass consciousness, and you pop out of that delusion, you are beginning to find your way back to the truth of who you are. And as we pop out of the illusion, we are co-creating a frequency of that emanates from a place of truth. And the basic truth is that we're all connected, that we are all one. Because coming to know that you are God is just coming to know that you are one. There is nothing else. You are all that is. This is why Jesus taught to us. And he was the first human on this planet that inside of the density of humanity, he was able to break out of the illusion. I've studied enough books channeled by Jesus to know that he did begin to cultivate an ego. He did think he was a separate person, the son of a carpenter, the son of Mary, the brother to John, and I believe he had a sister, husband to Mary. So he did have beliefs that he participated in, but when he had his baptism in the River Jordan with John the Baptist at the age of 30, he totally, completely had that complete awakening where he came out of that illusion. And then he went to spend 40 days and 40 nights in the desert to get his head straight, to get his mind straight, to sort out what was true and what was not true. So then what begins to happen is he has to go out and share the truth that was true always. He lost all his fear. He didn't care. that they were going to come after him. And when I say he didn't care, it's not that he wanted to die. It's simply that he was showing that he's not a body, that he was free. And if it was going to result in crucifixion, that was okay. That's a level of humbleness that Jesus had. You know what? I am not here to do anything but to remind everybody that we and the Father are one. And if that costs, me, my human life, it's okay, because that doesn't end what I am. That is just a completion of a role. And if that role is just to show humanity a couple of things, number one, he's not a body. Number two, he forgive those who don't know what they're doing, because everybody who's in the trance, everybody who's in the bubble, they do not know what they're doing. If they knew what they were doing, they wouldn't be doing that. They wouldn't be teaching nonsense. As a parent, one of the most just moments of facing myself that I had to look at and go, oh my God, I taught my children nonsense. Here I thought I was such a good parent. I thought I knew so much stuff. I thought I was right about so many things that I taught my children, but I was teaching them BS, bullshit, belief systems. I was teaching them lies. So I've had to go to my kids and apologize. I did not know that I was teaching you lies. I thought I was teaching you truth, to believe that God is outside, that to believe that you're separate from everybody else. So in that process of apologizing, of admitting that you taught things that were incorrect, it's a humbling process. You have to be willing to say with complete sincerity in your heart, I lied to you. Please forgive me. We have to move through a process of being okay apologizing. If we cannot apologize for our judgments and our fears and those things that are happening within us, we are not in a state of humbleness. Humbleness comes from not needing to be right, wanting to be correct because you are living by and only operating from the truth that sets us free. So in the Course in Miracles, it tells you that at some point you have to be under no laws but God's. You must make a commitment to be totally and completely committed to truth. When you're committed to truth, then you don't care about the consequences from a world that is incorrect. You stand for the truth and you do not fear for anything because you know it has no power over you. Your soul is at that point free. It's not that your body is going to be free. It's that your soul is free. That's the truth that frees us, is the truth that liberates the soul to play its part without attachment to the body. And when you're not attached to the body, God can use you to do amazing things. And they look supernatural because you're operating in a realm that is completely foreign to those who believe in nonsense. So when you make sense to those, you make sense because you understand truth, then you begin to connect with those that it makes sense to them too. So in this decade, 2020, many are moving out of the nonsense, making sense of what's happening, activating the ability to utilize their senses, their logic, their reasoning. They are coming together in common sense with others that are like-minded. So the world is bifurcating. We've got those who are really on various stages of their journey, realizing that there are no idols outside of us. Nobody is in control. There is no head of the world that I'm going to bow down to. And we start by now bowing down to, our partners or our spouses or our church or our bosses. We stop believing that they have power. Little by little, we move to the place where we don't believe that the president has power, or that the dictator has power, or that the head of the New World Order, whatever, World Federation, whatever they're called, have any power. They have zero power, because you're returning all power to God. But the humble part is you realize God is in you, and you realize that you can't be hating on anybody else because everybody else is you. Everybody else is an aspect of self. So Jesus taught us, Not only was he not a body, he was free. He taught us, do unto others as you would like them to do unto you, because you forgive others because you would like to be forgiven. You're kind because you want kindness back. You apologize because you would like somebody to apologize and acknowledge their mistakes as well. So he taught us to do to others as you want done to you, because we are ultimately one. Everything that you believe about another is a projection of what you believe about yourself. So if you think that they're better than you, it's because you believe that you're lesser than. If you are projecting power outside of you, it's because you're still believing you have no power inside of you. So that's why the humbling has to happen, because it's a process of softening our edges, of bringing us to the place where we really truly can acknowledge not only that we are one with all that is, but all that is love. All that is gentleness, kindness, honesty, integrity, all of the characteristics that in A Course in Miracles are given to us as what a teacher of God is. And a teacher of God is one who teaches that we're all God. The Course in Miracles doesn't mince with words. When it says teacher of God, that's what it is. We are teaching that we are God, that all are God, and we begin to treat one another with that level of respect. That frequency is going to emanate like sending out a signal that attracts people to that level of consciousness. I mean, I'm sure those of you have been studying these truths for a long time. It's not fun being around unconscious people. It's not fun being around people who really think that the outside has power, people who are afraid of a virus out there, people who are afraid of losing their money. You know, that level of fear, it's not interesting to me. That is because it's nonsensical. It's not only does it not make any sense, but it's a game that an immature child is playing. The mature child wakes up, moves through the process of understanding the truth, pops out of the illusion, and stands and wants to play with other mature beings. So 2020, we're only in year 2023. We're only in the third year of a 10-year decade. What's going to get bumpier is that more of us are moving out over here, meaning that there are less that can be controlled, meaning that those who were controlling the bulk of us had probably 99% of us under a spell, now are having a harder time because there are dissenters over here. There are those who are saying, you can't control me. I'm not going to buy into that. Well, where do you think they get all their money? It was from everybody over here buying all their crap, all their nonsense, all their poisons, and participating in all the things that send money up the food chain, because we were enslaved to a system that said we were somebody based on how much money we had, and we were willing to work ourselves to the bone, pay all those crazy taxes, and have nothing left so that we could say, well, at least I have a job where I make, 100,000. I've got a 6-figure job. I used to say nonsense like that. I've got a 6-figure job. And, look, I live in East Cobb and I've got this big house and blah, blah, blah. And how much was left at the end of the day? Not only not a lot, because the taxes always kept growing, and the stuff that I had to buy to keep up the appearances that I was doing so well, it was programmed into me. I couldn't watch a TV show without being told I needed a new car. I couldn't open up a magazine without being showed the latest jewelry that I needed, or the latest whatever that I needed, or the latest stuff that I had to participate in to be somebody. So at the end of the day, you don't have a whole lot of money left, and you don't even have a whole lot of energy left to even come to figure out who you really are, unless something helps to break down here so you pop out of the illusion. So little by little, over thousands of years, many of us have been popping out of the illusion until now, because so many have been popping out. There are enough over here that we are reaching critical mass, to the point that our light is shining so brightly, we can see the illusion that got created over here. We can see the magician now. We've turned up the lights. We can see how the magician has been manipulating things. We're seeing behind the scenes. We're seeing the way that the deceptions were created. And now so many of us can see it that we go, okay, but that's about to implode. And it's about to implode because not only are there not so many left supporting it, but the few that are left supporting it are in the process, because we are putting so much light that it's impossible, nearly impossible for them not to see what's going on, that the few that are left still holding on to that delusion need one big jolt to finally wake them up, because we all agreed. See, when you understand the truth of who you are, you realize that you're playing a game. We play the game of divine hide and seek. We came in and we hid in all of these roles. We played the game. We gave power outside of us. We created all of those idols, which is what we've been studying in these last couple of lessons. In chapter 30, inside of A Course in Miracles, in the new beginning, we are in section number 3. The title is Beyond All Idols. You've got to realize that anything that you give power outside of you is an idol. If you need the money, if you need the house, if you need the partner, if you need to have your face on New York Times bestseller list, whatever it is, you have an idol, something outside of you that it gives you a false sense of security, gives you a false sense of achievement, because all of those are distractions to you, who you really are. And to find out who you really are, you've got to oftentimes lose everything that you believe you are, so that what is left is that emptiness. That's why I showed you that visual, because once you realize that what you are is the emptiness, that is where you are able to connect with a creative source. In that emptiness, with humbleness, and you say, not my will, as a small, tiny, mad idea, not my will, but yours be done. In that state, here, let me mute. There we go. In that state of awareness that you are honest with yourself and with all that isness, that your mind only knows a tiny fraction of what is possible, you create the doorway, the opening to connect with the mind of the creative source, which is infinite mind. That then you begin to receive the guidance, you begin to receive the knowledge, the ideas, the inventions, everything that elevates consciousness to a whole new level. So in this last paragraph in this section, it is just so amazing. Here we've been studying that the thought that God has of each of us will never change. We are in God's imagination. We are pure love. We are pure light. We are the brilliance of all that is. And of course, when we incarnate and we get trained away from the truth, we block all that brilliance. So we hide our brilliance. Waking up is to begin to let that brilliance seep out. And as that brilliance goes out, well, it becomes a very gentle brilliance, because it doesn't seek to go, oh, look at me, look at me. We only need to go, look at me, when we are thinking we're in the darkness and we need the spotlight on us. We need an outside light on us. But when the light comes from you, not only do you not need the spotlight anymore, the humbleness, the gentleness, the ability to listen, the ability to be in a conversation with somebody and not have to finish their sentences for them, not have to be the center of attention, not have to be the one that always has to be, special. You become ordinary, but it's an ordinary that comes from an extraordinary awareness that we're all the same. It accepts that there is nobody who is better or lesser than anybody else, certainly not better or lesser than you. From that space where there's no more power outside of you, there's no more darkness blocking your light, and you begin to shine it, you are actually then in that place accepting not only the truth of who you are, but the truth of everybody else. And it is required that we accept that we are all equal in order for us to move out of the delusion, move out of the madness, come over here and not judge those who are totally, completely in the dark. Because anybody who is choosing to believe the insanity is choosing to experience insanity. When you realize that you're a creator, and you are choosing to create for yourself the experience of sanity, and you know that we're all equal, we all have the same power, then you say, oh, well, then those want to experience a little more darkness. It doesn't mean that we don't care about what's going on. It means that we shine our light so brightly that wherever we are, our family, our neighborhoods, our friends, our businesses, our careers, our positions of where we volunteer, you treat everybody how you want to be treated. When you do unto others how you want to be done unto you, you are emanating a light that others go, wow, that one is so peaceful over there. I'm over here so scared that I'm going to lose my Social Security, so scared that I'm not going to have insurance, so scared that I'm going to die. And this one over here is walking around like Jesus did, not afraid, totally, completely free. That's what free is you have no fear. When you are totally, completely unafraid, you are literally teaching what is possible more powerfully than if you went and said to them, hey, you don't need to be afraid. Do you realize that being afraid means that you are, deluded, that you are asleep? It doesn't help them to poke them and say, hey, you're sleeping. How many of us ever wanted somebody to come and poke us and go, hey, you're sleeping, wake up, you're sleeping? I didn't like that. I wanted it to happen more naturally. I didn't want to be forced into waking up when my body wasn't ready to wake up. Same principle applies here. When we are ready to wake up, we make zero excuses. This is, those of you who are in my class know that I say all the time, it requires radical honesty that we speak the truth of what's happening. Do you believe there's power outside of you? Do you still believe in fear? Then you're not awake. You might be awakening, but you're not awake. One who is awake is not operating from fear. One who is awake is operating from truth. Now, it's a journey to let go of what is not true. And we all have to look to childhood. We all have to see, where did we get indoctrinated? Where did we pick up all these lies that are not true? It requires about 12 years to indoctrinate humanity into forgetting that they're powerful and giving their power away. Look at a little child who thinks that they're invincible, that they can be Superman in the morning, they can be a doctor in the afternoon, they can be a cowboy in the evening, or an Indian or whatever, totally, completely powerful. You send them through 12 years of schooling. And now, and then they added kindergarten, so 13, then they added pre-K, so 14. By the time these teenagers come out on the other side, their eyes are glassed over. They have no light they're not emanating light. They are, not all, but most are pretty much already in the density of, oh, okay, I got to go get a job. I got to go make money. How do I get a position in my father's law firm, whatever? I got to go get a law degree. They're already buying into the system. So give yourself about 12 years at least. I know for me, it's been a 20-year journey, and there's still more that continues to be revealed, but give yourself at least 12 years to undo what has taken years, decades, lifetimes of indoctrination to get you to believe that power is outside of you, that idols are outside of you, that you have bought into security, safety, joy, happiness, wealth, safety outside of you. It's not. None of it that you're looking for that has true value is outside of you. So this paragraph 11, the last paragraph in this section says, where could the thought God holds of you exist but where you are? So if God knows who you are, where is that knowledge? It's in you, because God has an idea to be you and it becomes you. So where is God's idea of you? It's in God. Where is God? It's in you. So where is all the knowledge about who you are? Where is that? It is written in the fabric of your essence. This is why when your body has the death experience, you does not disappear. The you with a capital Y the soul that you are, where all the truth is written, simply moves on from the physical body that contains it, and it keeps going. Think about an apple. An apple, the apple can be eaten, but the truth of the apple is in the seed, and it's going to get planted again. And the people are going to eat all those apples, and the seed's going to get planted again. So the seed of who you are is in your soul. It's in your essence. But where is your essence? Is within you. That's why we have to quiet the mind. We have to empty the mind of all the nonsense, all the BS, all the things that are not true, to begin to feel the essence of what is true, what is eternal, what will be forever, forever you. And it has the imprint of that God is, because God made us in its image. And when you understand what God is, not a bearded, angry man on a cloud somewhere, but a loving, childlike essence, eternal, youthful, playful, joyful, that just wants to play more games like a little kid. We've got to get back to being like a little child. That's why that's been told to us in every single religion that teaches truth. Every single philosophy that points to the truth is pointing to that you've got to come back to your childlike sense of wonder. You've got to peel back the conditioning that you received as a child, your opinions of who you are, your opinions of men, of women, of relationships, of how you're supposed to show up in the world, your political beliefs, religious beliefs, all indoctrinated into you. You've got to let all of that go. You're none of that. Those are just aspects of the role that you're playing, but you're not the role that you are. So as you connect with the essence of who you truly are, you will discover the thought that God holds of you, because it's in you. You're not going to find it anywhere else. Is your reality a thing apart from you and in a world which your reality knows nothing of? Do you think God put your reality outside of you? No. Everything that you are looking for outside of you is a deliberate attempt by those who understand psychology to have you look in all of the places you will not find. This is why it's insanity to be looking for love in all the wrong places, to be looking for safety in all the wrong places, for joy in all of the wrong places. It can only be found where God placed it. And where is God? In you. You are it. Tag, you're it. Remember, I told you this is a game of divine hide and seek. Tag, you are it. When you know the truth about you, and then you begin to see the truth about everybody else, you just sit back in incredible amazement at the roles that God plays. And if you observe the one who is playing the role of greedy, selfish CEO, or lying head of, NIH, whatever, you just look at that and you go, oh my gosh, that's amazing. Or you think that there are these people over here that are oppressing humanity. It's like, wow, isn't that interesting? Well, for them to oppress humanity, they must have people playing the role of those who want to be oppressed. And when you sit back and you observe, wow, everything is just everybody playing a role that they want to play. Whether they're aware of it or not is another question. If they're not aware of that and they're a minor who their mind has not, their mind hasn't fully developed, then it is our role as adults to do whatever we can to facilitate that child coming into their maturity. So come to know their mind in a healthy way. That's why part of why I moved to Colorado, so I could be near my grandson, so I can participate, because my daughter and her husband want to raise their son knowing the truth of who he is, remaining aware of his power. So I am so excited that I get to participate in that, because as I said to my daughter, I am so sorry that I helped contribute to making you believe that you were less powerful than I was, that as your mother, I knew more, and then the boss knew more than even us, and the government knew more than even us or the boss, and all of that lineage that I helped teach my daughter were to put more and more layers between her and her truth. With her son, they don't want to do that. They want to make sure that that little boy grows up knowing the truth of who he is from the get-go, so that he doesn't need to come to me for therapy, coaching later on to remove layers. But we have to go through that process. We have to remove the layers and return to who we really are. We've got to remove the nonsense from our mind that helps create the illusion, the delusion that out there is where the power is, because those who understand psychology deliberately keep putting more and more and more steps for us to move, to go further and further and further away from ourselves. So the return becomes more laborious, but it doesn't have to take so long. In this decade, we are being supported. Anybody who wants to wake up, who agreed to wake up in this decade, is feeling it. They're not going to be able to deny it. They're going to feel the impulse to step out. They need those who are grounded in the truth of who they are as examples, as solid lighthouses over here, emanating the light of truth, so that those who are here in the darkness, like a ship in a dark night in a storm, and the storm is upon us. I'm sure you've heard that term, the storm is upon us, can take their vessel and swim out of harm's way to the light. We can't go in there and get those people out, because if we go in there to try and get them out, then we are in the dream. We are in the illusion. We're in the delusion that we can save anybody else, and we cannot save anybody else. I mean, it's a big enough job just to save our own asses from the insanity. So you stay over here grounded, own the truth of who you are, but you will only be really here if you're humble. If you are, pretending, if you are thinking you know it all because you studied whatever, this course or that course, or this path or that path, or you studied under this important person or that one, then you're not quite there. You're still on your journey there. That's why radical honesty is so crucial. So it continues to tell us, outside you, there is no eternal sky, no changeless star, and no reality. Outside of us is not where you're going to find the eternal sky. It's not where you're going to find the space that holds your brilliance. It is all within you. There is nothing outside of you that you're going to find that has any solidity, like a changeless star, like ultimate reality. It's not there. The mind of heaven's son in heaven is. So the mind of you, a child of the heavens, a child of the infinite, eternal heaven, kingdom of heaven, if you want to call it that, that knowingness, the mind of that one that knows the truth, is in heaven. And where is heaven? Kingdom of heaven is within. For there the mind of Father and of Son joined in creation, which can have no end. When you come inside and you acknowledge that you and the Father, Mother, God are one, that you are God, I have no issue saying I am God, because I know that so are you. And from that space, I have zero fear of what happens outside. Doesn't mean that I don't have fear-based thoughts that pop into my mind. They do, because of the conditioning that I've had. I still have some of those thoughts, but they don't pull me into the delusion. I can stay here and observe, oh, there's that fear-based thought. Am I going to let that thought erase all the work that I've done? Absolutely not. I'm not sliding down. I've already climbed to the top of the place of awareness, of knowledge, of truth, of liberation. I'm not going to go back, because if I slide back into insanity, I have to be honest, radically honest with myself. Who did that to me? Me. How? Because I believed a thought that wasn't true. Because at the end of the day, that's all that we're doing, is we're monitoring our thoughts. We move into a state that the only thing that we control is the thought that we choose to believe, because we know that that thought is going to manifest our reality. If you believe a thought that power is outside of you, you're going to experience the suffering when that power decides not to give you what it is that you're wanting. So when you don't look outside for the things that you desire to experience and you stay within, you are grounded like a lighthouse, grounded, rooted into that truth. This is why in the Bible they say, you are operating from a place of, you build your house on solid ground. Now your house is unshakable. It's not in the shifty sand that can move about. You are totally and completely grounded in truth. So when you come to know that your mind and the Father, Mother, God's mind are one, then all you want to know is what that mind knows, because you know that mind holds way more, because it knows everything. It's in everything. It knows the mind of the leaves. It knows the mind of the trees. It knows the mind of the grass. It knows the minds of the other planets. It knows what is being thought by every being that exists physically or non-physically. So you want to tap into the mind that really knows everything. You don't settle for your own little puny egoic mind that only knows a little bit. And most of what it knows is indoctrinated nonsense. So you don't want to go to your own mind. So you have not two realities, but one. There is this made up delusion. That's not reality. The reality is that you're the creative essence of God itself, choosing to have a short-term experience. So you cannot be the experience that you're having. You have to be the experiencer of the experience. But the experiencer of the experience is experiencing all experiences simultaneously. Can you allow yourself to tap into the mind that knows everything? Well, that requires that you empty your mind of the nonsense that blocks you from that reality. There can be no other way, because you have one reality, but that reality with a capital R is only available to those who detach from the little r reality. You've got to let go of the role that you're playing. I was having a conversation with one of my students yesterday, and I asked her, said, well, give me the name of a movie star that you like. And she said, Jennifer Aniston. Give me a role that she played. Oh, she was the wife of Bruce Almighty. If any of you guys have ever seen that movie, it's a cute movie. Go see it. So I said to her, so is Jennifer Aniston, or is she the wife of Bruce Almighty? And she's like, well, she's Jennifer Aniston. She played the role of Bruce Almighty's wife. All right, well, wouldn't it have been interesting if at the end of filming that movie, Jennifer Aniston decided that she was the wife of Bruce, that's her reality. And she just walked around saying, no, don't call me Jennifer. Call me whatever. Let's make up a name. Sally. Call me Sally Almighty. That's who I am. That would have been pretty weird, huh? We would have thought she's a little cuckoo. But that's what we're all doing. We're all walking around acting like we are the wife of Bruce Almighty, or Bruce Almighty, or whatever the character is. We're not that. We are the consciousness that is choosing to play this role. We are the actor, actress, however you want to call it, that is choosing to play this role. This role is going to end. Lifetime after lifetime, this role ends. Sometimes it ends early, sometimes it ends late. Doesn't matter. It's going to end. When you're not attached to the role, your character is free then to acknowledge that you are not defined by the character, by the role that you're playing. So you have not two realities. You only have one. Jennifer Aniston has one reality, that she is Jennifer Aniston. Now, Jennifer Aniston, if you step back, is the character that she's playing. Her real reality is that she is God. So we got to go back through all of these different layers that we're playing. Nor can you be aware of more than one reality. So at any given moment, you're either aware of the reality that you are God itself, pretending to be you, or you believe the reality, you're aware of the reality that you are just you, trying to make ends meet, trying to, do the right thing so you don't get in trouble, you don't get punished. So you can only experience one reality, and only one of the two is real. So when you begin the process of awakening, you begin to cross that bridge so that over here you can see more of the nonsensical stuff, the less that you are concerned with the bodily, physical, material stuff. And that is an important distinction, because then you begin to align with the creative source. And you, as God, begins to decide, well, how do I want to experience my human journey? And when you move into the place of experiencing your human journey with love, like Jesus did, not concerned about the body, things of the body will come and go. The aging will happen. The sicknesses might happen. And the sickness is not because you're low frequency. The sickness is because we live in a world, in a dimension that has density. And we have had lifetimes of density that are coming, that are being manifested as, for some people, as diseases, for some people as limitations, quadriplegic, one missing an arm or whatever it might be, maybe blind, whatever it is, to see, can you bring love to that? Can you love that part of you that is being expressed because you chose to be in density? If you can love anything that the world teaches you is a bad thing, then you have achieved a level of love that is necessary, that doesn't pick and choose what to love, but rather loves all that is. Then you will be able to experience whatever the world would say, what a tragedy, with total and complete peace within you. As the world moves more into this storm that is upon us, that is going to wreak more havoc on humanity. Why? Because it needs to wake up more people. That was what we all agreed to. The more that you are loving what is, lovingly going through your treatment, lovingly going through the loss of your business or the loss of your house or the flood that washed away your property, the more that with peace in your heart, you are accepting what is, because you understand that we're all just acting out the parts in density, the more that you stand as an example for those who go, I want some of what he's having. I mean, it's really one of those when Harry met Sally moments where you're over here in your peace, instead of moaning, and the people in the restaurant go, I want what she's having. You are in such peace and such joy that in there going crazy, oh my God, I'm losing my house, I'm losing my job, I'm losing my whatever. They want what you're having. Guess what? You anchor the new reality for the collective, and then they have a place to land because now they have seen another way. They have seen another reality. It comes into their awareness that there is another way because they see what is breaking down over here, and they don't like that. They will eventually decide, I don't want to be holding on to the shifty sands of governments that change and play games and have double standards. They will say, okay, I'm tired of this. But we have to be aware that there's only one reality. Choose it, be it, embody it, no exceptions. You have to play the total, complete, radical honesty game. No exceptions. If you're love, love. And that means you're kind, you're gentle, no judgment. You cannot judge, because to judge is to divide, is to separate good, bad. In oneness, you can't do that. So the mind has to go through an incredible purification process. And it goes on to say in sentence number 7, an idol or the thought of God holds of you. An idol or the thought God holds of you is your reality. Does what God believe about you, that you are perfect, that you are holy, that you're eternal, that you are complete, that you are creative, that you are powerful? Is that what you believe about yourself, or what the idols hold about you, that you're less than, that you are to bow down to them, that you need to give them all your money, that you need to work hard to make them rich, that you need to buy their stuff so that you get to be happy, never, of course, achieving that you need to go outside of yourself to find well-being, that you need to go and buy their products and their stuff to make you feel better, that you've got to do what they say to you, that if they say, well, you're not going to have a gas stove, you don't have a gas stove, that if they say you own nothing and you're going to be happy, then that's what you do. Which thoughts do you believe are true? That you're powerful, unlimited, creator of your own reality, or that you have to bow down to the reality that somebody else is creating for you? It's really that simple. Only one is true. But while you are believing the lie, you're actually using the power God gave you. You're the powerful creator who is choosing to believe a lie. Nobody makes us believe lies. Nobody has power to make us believe anything. They have the ability to give us information to believe that if they reward us enough and we believe it, then we agree with it. They didn't make us believe it. They just fed us enough nonsense with enough sugar to make us think that that was true. So we are rewarded by the hit of sugar, by the hit of success, by the hit of, somebody saying, oh, you did a good job or whatever it is, because you're using the power that God gave you. You are infinitely free to be the role that you're playing. So even while you're playing the role of a wounded child, or the role of a successful entrepreneur or poor person in jail, you are still utilizing your own power. You're still Jennifer Aniston playing the role, maybe a different role than Bruce Almighty's wife, but you're playing the role. So never, ever, ever are you not using your God-given power. You are just either using it consciously or unconsciously. There's no other way, because there's only ultimately one reality. So if you are unconscious to your truth, you're still utilizing your powers to create the life that maybe you don't prefer anymore. How are you gonna, you don't prefer it? You need the contrast. So those who have preferred to be conscious of their power and use it for the greater good of all. That's the secret sauce. You have to do it for the greater good of all, meaning you hold your light. You don't come down to go save somebody. You stand here knowing that they're choosing to do that. Yes, we are, many of us, volunteering in many ways, and even if it's just through prayer, to see that everybody has the ability to move out of that enslavement, because we don't see victims. We don't see anything other than powerful creators. Either they know it or they don't. That's it. If there's a judgment, and it's not really a judgment, it's discernment of the truth that is happening, that is, will be always forevermore happening, is that everybody is the creator of their own reality. Until you believe that in your bones, you know that it's the truth of who you are. In your cells, you vibrate that and you see everybody as powerful creators. You will continue to project your own victimization on others. You will continue to project your own bullying on others. You are not healed inside if you project those things outside. So the work is radical honesty. Are you accepting the truth that is true always? If you are, and you're living it, then you are a gentle being walking upon this planet as Jesus did. You don't mince words. You have no issues acknowledging, yeah, I and the Father, Mother, God are one. I am powerful and so are you. From that place, you are emanating the frequency that is going to assist in the liberation of humanity. The more you ground yourself in this as your truth, the more this is going to activate its own destruction, because your light helps to see the blight that has been created by all of us who have agreed to play the game. We don't make the game wrong. We just choose. Are we done with the game and we go play another game at a higher frequency? That's all that it is. When I was done playing hide and seek with my friends, I didn't say hide and seek is a bad game. I didn't make my friends wrong who wanted to play hide and seek. I just went inside and left them outside playing hide and seek, and I went inside and got a snack and maybe played something else. That's what we are here to do. Choose what game we want to play when we have awareness. But know that if we choose the game of insanity, we're using our sane mind to pretend that we're insane. It's not happening to us. It's all happening for us to have the experiences that allow us to give source consciousness, God, whatever you want to call it, expanded, infinite potential possibilities. That's all that we are, is a seed of infinite possibilities. You and I are an infinite potential that allows God to be infinite. Forget not then that idols must keep hidden what you are. Here we go. Here we go. Of Course in Miracles is saying it's not just Laina. Forget not that idols must keep hidden what you are, not from the mind of God, but from your own. So the mind of God, the truth of God in you knows the truth of who you are, but your mind, your egoic mind that's been conditioned by those idols that you worship that need you to be conditioned into submission so that you worship them. You know, you got to have that side. They are conditioning, they are controlling your ego mind. That's why you need to get out of your ego mind. You need to step out of your ideas about yourself and how things are, because that is what's being controlled. And when you drop, when you transcend the ego, all you do is you drop the role. Now you're free. And what frees you? You come into your right mind. You come to know the mind of God. That's where you find the peace that passes all understanding, the truth that sets you free. It's all inside of you. But first, you have to acknowledge that you are being controlled, that your thinking is not your own, that your thinking is hand-me-down beliefs. Begin to hand them back. Mom, this is your idea about things. Okay, good for you. Grandma, this is your idea. Good for you. Church, this is your idea. Government, you think you control me. No, you don't. But you can keep doing that with anybody else that you want to. That idol must keep hidden the truth of who you are. And the only way that they can do that is by telling you things that are not true, by poisoning your mind, by poisoning your body, by making you run to them for medical assistance when they're the ones poisoning your physical vessel. They must keep the truth hidden from you for you to continue playing the game. And if you want to play the game of being someone who is lied to, good for you. That's how you're using your superpower. Your superpower to create a reality. You're creating the reality that you want to be lied to. There's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. And you can keep doing that. This 2020 decade is going to come to an end. At the end of this decade is the dropping of the opportunity to see clearly. That's all that it is. Clear vision goes away. So if you don't see it with as much as light as is being is shining on the darkness, if you don't see it, it's because you don't want to wake up, and that is perfectly okay as the creator of your own reality. The star shines still. The sky has never changed. But you, the Holy Son of God himself, herself, are unaware of your reality. Whenever we worship an idol, we are projecting you have power out there, meaning I don't have power here. That is the lie that those who are in control, who understand psychology, need you to believe that you're powerless so that they can have power over you. The minute that you decide, you know what? Nope, you do not have power over me, is when you begin the journey home. You begin to come back into the truth of who you are. But to really be fully free, you must acknowledge that you are eternal and not your body. You are eternal and not your human thoughts. You must create the relationship with the mind of God. You must come inside to know the truth that is true always. It cannot be threatened, and it sets you free. So with that, that completes that entire section. Next week, we're going to start section number 4, the truth behind illusions. I can't wait for that. So thank you for giving me this opportunity to hear those amazing things. I'm going to go back and listen to this one. There were some good little nuggets in there. So unmute yourself if you want to share any nuggets that you might have gotten. If you don't unmute yourself, as always, it's perfectly okay. If you found this helpful, please share it with others. I mean, I'm just here to help share the truth that sets us free. All right. Yes, dear.
Yes. Well, once again, such amazing reminders. There are so many idols. Yeah. Suddenly, when you mentioned about the idols again, just think how many idols I have in my life. I mean, really, that are mixed into the food that I choose to eat, the thing that I must have, and the things that I do every day, be it exercise or whatever. Some of it might be idols, and some of it might be necessary. I don't always check in with myself which ones I'm attached to and that I don't really need. So there's a lot of, I know for myself, a lot. I've just been reminded that I need to do an inventory of all of my idols.
And that's a great point, Christo. Everything that you believe, that we believe, myself included, that we have to be okay, that the vitamin or this specific vitamin that we have to have, live in this particular area, this particular house, this amount of money, this thing, this piece of furniture, car, that's whatever, you got to buy your clothes from this store versus that one. I went through, the process after I got divorced and really didn't have the money from the partner that I was married to, because I wasn't doing so much of my business. I went through a process that I realized, oh my gosh, I couldn't afford to get my nails done. My nails had become an idol. I couldn't afford to shop at the boutiques that I used to go to. I had to go to Goodwill. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm wearing somebody else's hand-me-down clothes. So those were idols. Those are all idols. The specific food that you have to eat. We are conditioned. Organic food is better. Well, it is better while you play the role of one who needs to have organic food. But because you introduced me to Jas Moheen, who is one of the wonderful teachers grounded in the truth that we don't need food. Actually, we do not, we can live off of prana, which is truth. And so do you really need vitamins? If you can live off of prana, do you need vitamins? Does it have to be this specific vitamin? Do you need that specific? Does it even have to be organic? If you're not eating food, what does organic have to do with it? So yes, so many idols that have been created, and we have to let go of all of them.
It's quite an amazing, because everybody's unique in what their idols are. There's no one person, two people the same. And part of my sort of concern or maybe fear is, as I declare myself a channel for the divine power that runs through me, if I don't take action, the action will be given to me.
Yes,
and
the density.
And I know,
at the density that we're at, we have to take actions, and we have to do the thing that feels most peaceful, most comfortable. This is part of self-love, is take the action. Maybe.
Well, that's, I think, what you just reminded me now. Self-love brings in is the mediator, almost, you could say, maybe is the mediator for not traumatizing yourself too much, in starting to make proper choices, divine choices.
Yes, because as I said to my son Spencer when he was doing drugs, and it was not something that I've ever heard anybody else say, but I knew I had to say this to him. And that was, you don't have to give up drugs. Taking drugs was the most loving thing that he did for himself, because it was the thing that helped him not feel as bad as he did. And the feeling bad is what caused him to need to get drugs so that he could feel good. So why would I take away the thing that he thought made him feel good? And I know drugs are not good for the physical body, but at the end of the day, they don't do anything because you're not even a body. So it's not really, I wasn't giving power to the drugs to harm. I was giving power to the self-love that was helping heal him. Because every time that he put drugs in his mouth and he felt more peace, that's when he was open to looking at the thoughts that he had that brought him to that state. So we have to be gentle with ourselves as we let go of the things that we have made. I must have this or I won't be okay.
Making a smoothie to go.
Okay, no, awesome. Okay, yeah, I'll get back to you now. So,
I'm
yeah,
making it now, so
that's awesome.
when you need to tell me.
And I'm I'm in mute. Let me mute you because we've got some background there.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. All right. Anybody else want to unmute yourself and share whatever you might want to share? If not, like I said before, it's okay. You don't have to. You come here to receive. And if you enjoy what you got here, then just share it with others. Post this on your social media if you feel bold enough to share the truth that is helping you, if you feel that this is helpful. And if you're new to this, if you find this, who knows where, and you want more of these episodes, this is number 120. If you want the rest, they are all in my YouTube channel under Laina Orlando. Thank you all so much for this wonderful experience. And I look forward to seeing you next week. And here's a message that came in. Awesome. God is good. Love this one. Love you. Love you too, sweetie. Take care. You guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye-bye.